Welcome back to Kentucky Route Zero, where we just arrived at the beach, at the rum colony. Yep, sounds like him. Our friend Sareno is booked here tonight. He's pretty good. He's a wizard of the lap-steeled guitar. Haha. Are you two coming ashore? Oh sure, we'll be up in a minute. You couldn't hold me back. Oh, I don't know. Kate says just to wander back whenever this is a take-it-easy kind of stop. She doesn't even blow the foghorn to round up the crew here, no point. Something about this spot is like wax in the ear when it comes to timetables and responsibilities. I was supposed to meet someone here earlier tonight about some bike parts. I hope she's still around. Oh, I'm sure she is, ma'am, half sleeping into a fragrant mug with all the other wayward sailors. I have a torchlight. What? I wanted to look at it. Rick. This music's so sweet, don't you think so? It's like a flower, I think. A delicious heavy flower, like this flower in my drink. It makes my eyelids feel like petals, wet with early morning dew. Have you ever slept on the beach? Can't say I've had the opportunity. No time to like the now. Come lay in the sand, have some of this drink. I forget what it's called, but they put a pale pink flower in it. Isn't it that tranquil? Oh gosh, I'm so stressed out. What are you stressed about? Work, life, the weight of each approaching day. Everyone deserves the rest, don't you think? Even you and I. Looks like a good place to rest. I like the music here, I like this drink with the pale pink flower in it, I like the sand and the dark water, like a deep mirror. I like the whispers of my colleagues from the other side of the beach. You know, my colleagues and I are meant to be celebrating something of a milestone here this evening. Well, I don't want to keep you from your celebration. You want to keep going? Good for you. I'll stay right here if you don't mind. All this conversation is making me lightheaded. I think I'll shut my eyes a bit, maybe just halfway. I'll listen to the water and the sweet music. I don't hear music. And the whispers of my colleagues. Shop talk. Can't believe it's still working, always working. It's better, I think, to sleep. Yep, better to sleep. What's that? A damp matchbook rests on top of the sand. Shannon flips it open without looking, runs her thumb across the cardboard and finds one match still intact. She stares ahead, transfixed by the texture on her fingertip, and she wonders if it will flake apart and leave her hand smelling and feeling like fire for the rest of the night. Of the cold lake water has already washed away that part of the match, the part that smells and feels like fire. Hey, Will. Hello, happy to be here in the end now. I heard a shuffling. Are you dragging your feet or just enjoying the sand between your toes? Yeah, it's nice to slow down for a minute. Will you have time? Lots of glass here. Patch boys load the empties on the barge. I told them, try to keep it separated in its own little pile. That way, when we get to disposing of it, any environmentally minded folks present can easily set them aside for recycling. I love the river, but I don't care for the current. It's too relentless. Lake Death, though, it's calm, cold and deep, and any opportunity, I'm ashore meditating. One day I may be left behind. I wanted to ask you something. I thought of it earlier, but it didn't seem like the right time. I'm sure you know what I'm getting at. You want to know where we're going? Oh no, I don't really think about that kind of thing, but I see you have a purpose. Well, the Echo carries pilgrims as well as drifters. I think you'll get to wherever you're going. Wouldn't you agree? I guess so. Yeah, I thought so. And I didn't want to ask about... Hey! There's the other thing that I couldn't interact with. An untouched drink sits on the table, forgotten or abandoned or simply wasted. Hey, Conway. There she is. You have to try one of these flower drinks. I feel like I could drink 100 of them. Not too sweet, not too strong, you know. A real session drink. We'll be scraping you off the beach. No, it's not one of those. Not one of those really strong drinks. Just sort of... It doesn't taste like a flower. I mean, not like a flower smells, you know, perfumed, sickly sweet, like a star thistle flower. You know, my mother was obsessed with those awful weeds. We had a small house just about leaned up against a hill, and every spring that hill would explode with yellow star thistle. I suppose star thistle is a flower. And she'd tear into them, wild, I mean, really enraged by it. She said they were an invasive species, like a foreign squatters on her land or something. I used to think she was such a wicked old lady to get so violent about it. After she died, I mean a few years later, I came by the house again. It was spring, but I didn't see a single yellow flower on that hill. She must have finally got them, or maybe they followed her home. Haha. More old stuff. I'm drowning in old stuff tonight. Feels like I've got it piled up all around me. Like one of those old guys you hear about who never threw anything away. You know what I mean. Hey, maybe you should slow down. Oh no, I don't think so. In fact, I could use a few more of these. Just take a book of matches to the room. That should clear everything right up. Know what I mean? Sorry, I'm not making sense, am I? I just meant to say, I can't look at anything without remembering something else. And then that reminds me of something else and I'm buried in it. I just need to get my head clear for a minute, get a clear view of the day, get oriented. Drinking booze for getting oriented doesn't work. There was a time when I felt this way. I would bite the bullet, try to sober up and get a job. Work is therapeutic for me too. Work is play for mortal stakes, or so they say in the church. Hey, I'm going to sit and look at the water for a minute. I'll talk to you later, don't be a stranger. There's a kid always running around here. Okay, this is the end of the beach. I think it's Ezra running around here in the background, but I haven't seen him for a while. Might be on the other side of the beach. Bureau, folks. The water's fine, invigorating. It makes me want to run. I could gallop up and down this beach like a horse. What's he yelling about? He wants to run. He wants to run on the beach like a horse, he says. Oh dear, what's in these drinks, haha? You folks work at the Bureau. We're celebrating. We just hit a big milestone, you know. The clerks both paused, waiting for the other to speak. Well, tell her about it. Oh, I'm mixing up Böhm's and Matt Stein's voice. But I don't know anything more than you do. It wasn't part of my caseload. Well, it wasn't part of mine. I wonder just what we are celebrating. It doesn't matter. Invigorating. Catch anything, Lewis? So did you find what you were looking for? With Lula, I mean? Is she here? I'm not sure where she is now that you mention it. Hey, Ezra. Before we left the office, I think I will work for... I will work. Great. I will go for a run along the beach as soon as I'm finished with this drink. Try not to yell so loud, Luis. I'm afraid you'll shake the ceiling loose. This guy is just standing in the water. Oh, wait. There was a thing. And it disappeared again. Something glints back at the flashlight's beam. Shannon brushes sand off the damaged VHS tape. The smudged label on the spine reads, "Private, do not watch, but not erase." There might be something at the table over there too. I'm seeing like a little candle there. Or a little fire. So let's see if we can catch Ezra. Or is he always just running around while we talk, and he's not there while we don't talk? I think he's just coming when we're talking. Okay, Patch is the barkeep here. And there's also Sonny. What are you drinking, Sonny? Hey, did you hear the ice caps are melting? I mean the polar ice caps, the ones all the way at the top. Don't listen to him, hon. He's all doom and gloom tonight. Don't listen, that's the answer, damn. Well, what else can you do? Someday all of this will be underwater. We'll all be drowned. What can you do? You can recycle? Yeah, recycling doesn't really help with the whole climate change thing, but it's a good thing to try to do everything. Half measures so well as nothing. Don't be a pessimist, Sonny. Have another Mai Tai. He's just in a dark mood because the bar's crowded tonight. He likes to spread out. Do you know the toxic runoff has decimated the deer population, right? Oh no. That's why what they said in a recent study anyway, and I believe them. Acid rain, you know, useless any day now. Sure, I heard it in a recent study, so I take it as gospel. Worthless gospel, but gospel nonetheless. Acid rain was a real thing. Back in the 60s or 70s, I think, you measure acidity by pH, and something like your stomach's acid is between pH 1 and 2, and the most acidic rain that came down, I think in Ireland, was measured to be like 2.3, which is a bit less acidic than your stomach acid, but it did, there was a flock of sheep affected that did lose its skin under the wool. So it was really dangerous. The problem was that we were running on coal energy at that time, and we hadn't invented the sulfoxide filtering thing for coal plants. And the sulfoxide went into the air, and together with water, it forms sulfuric acid and drains down sulfuric acid, which is a stronger acid than the acid you have in your stomach, but it's diluted in water when it's raining, so it's not as strong as stomach acid when it comes down. But that was a real problem, and we got rid of it. It's one of the great things that we did in doing good things for nature by stopping our mistakes. It's like one of the biggest achievements chemistry has made in order to save nature. The other one is stopping those fluorochlorocarbohydrate stuff being used in the refrigerators, which was blowing holes into our ozone layer, and the ozone layer is coming back, and it is the holes in the ozone layer are getting smaller now, 20 to 30 years after we stopped using the stuff. It takes a while for the stuff to disappear out of our atmosphere because it's so inert, and that's why we took it for refrigerator. This was really great stuff, but nobody tested it with UVA radiation, because UVA radiation only happens at like the higher at higher atmosphere. And that's why it blindsided us that it came out that way, because it was such a good material for that, and way better than everything else we had tried so far. And now we're using stuff that's worse for our water and our earth, but not as damaging to our ozone layer. So we're using stuff that's obviously worse than what we were using before, but we can't afford to lose our ozone layer, else the life of all mammals on our planet will die out. So basically of everything that doesn't have a thick fur to absorb the UV light, to then be bleached by the UV light instead of it reaching the skin and causing cancer. So it's a good thing that we stopped that. So I went on a few minute long rant. I'm sorry. Always having to talk about chemistry when it comes up in a game. Sure, I heard it in a recent study, so I take it as gospel, worthless gospel, but gospel nonetheless. Yeah, I'm trying not to think about it. Everyone should be. Sonny, you're insufferable. Dawn. Toxic runoff, that's his latest rant, but I'm not surprised by anything anymore. Before this, it was bovine growth hormones and global warming. No, he's harmless, I just don't know him anymore, that's all. He takes bits and pieces of things he reads and synthesizes them all into some grand theory, and it's always the end of the world. But who could know that stuff, right? We can't even predict the weather. That's right. I mean, if you could take all these little pieces and predict how they're all going to interact, well, you'd know everything. I tell you what I'd do with a kind of knowledge. When I first met a man, I'd look at his shoes and the kind of book he reads and what he eats for breakfast, and I'd make damn sure we weren't doomed to spend our twilight years greedily emptying Mai Tais and arguing about toxic runoff. Well, you know what they say about hindsight. Here's to a better yesterday. Interesting conversation. Yeah, that is one of the main problems with all this, these grand theories about how global warming works and stuff. Can I take... Oh, Patch is going to take the call. Yeah, listen, we've got a problem down there. What's the problem? Well, it's all messed up. I tried realigning that big sewer gate on the livestock pen like you said, right? Who is this? Damn thing flooded, man. It's even worse than before. I'm saying we've got to get these computers out of here. Who is this? I mean, we're running out of time here. Hey, I forgot. Does the big green wolf dump water into sewage? You told me earlier, but I've been so stressed it just kind of flew out of my mind. So should I turn that wolf? Yes? Alright, you're the boss. I wanted to talk to Patch. So what I wanted to talk... Does this start the music? Hi? Nothing happening? So what I was wanting to go on earlier was it's always the problem with like the big theories about how something affects global warming, and it's just so off. Can't even predict what happens next year, and it's just you can't even predict the weather for next week. So it's just always so much off because we just don't understand our planet enough to make these kinds of predictions. Okay. Okay, I think we got stuck. Go back to the circle and continue Act 4. Act 4. Where are we going in? At the beginning of scene 3? Or does it remember where I stayed? Now I've got a black screen. Okay, we're at the beginning of... Okay, I'm gonna try to talk to Patch again. Oh no, the music is playing! All the time the music wasn't playing. Ah, and I could listen to music by... Oh god. I went on for 18 minutes, complaining about how I'm not hearing music every now and then. And all the time the music should have been playing. Great. Encountered our first bug in the game. I'm so glad to see you. These cooks are bumming me out, man. You see that guy in the sand over there? He rode up kind of offsetter, you know? Kind of leaning on the stage here, and he was like, what kind of strings are those? Steel or nylon? Oh, he's just drunk. Oh, believe me, I know. You've got to be cool about it, or just get a drink and stay in your chair, man. If you're gonna drink like that, just drink. I mean, don't make it my problem. Hey, how's that new tape going? Oh yeah, it's good, man. I mean, it's okay. Everything's recorded, but I still want to do another pass on it and maybe work on the mix, but it's no rush on that because I don't have the cash for blank tapes right now anyway. Patch flew me some bookings, so I'm trying to fund it with tips. But you know, we're all paying a premium for blank media these days. Everyone's afraid we're dubbing garbage off the radio, so they only sell blank tapes in pallets or overpriced 3-packs. Totally cut out the small labels and self-publishers. Chris and Gorn are just recording over old tapes for their new one. Can you believe that? It saves some cash, I guess, but you're always going to have old frequencies bleeding through. It's just chemistry, man. Hey, speak of which, I'm about mid-set here. Can you take the can around while I play this next one? It's on the tape. I think you'll like it, man. Thanks. I put in $5. She didn't have to do that, had to hurt. But that's the way it goes. The unsteady steadying the unsteady. There's probably a $5 bill somewhere just floating up and down the river from tip jar to musician to tip jar to musician like an eternal ferry of good intentions. And return the can. So we can now listen to the music like we should. Ah, now it works. Okay. Junebug, hey, guess who I just saw like an hour ago? That lady with the engine for sale? You just missed her. I tried to hold her back, but she's all business. I got that impression. Hi, I'm sure another one will come on the market soon. Hey, any one of your friends want a drink? I've got time. Busy night. But everyone's deep in their straws by now. Busy night? There are like 10 or 12 people here? It's not busy at all. We'll pass. Take it easy, Patch. No problem. See you around. Can I talk to you? Can I talk to Sereno again? I aborted the call. I should really wait for the call to appear again. So I'm following Ezra around. You're throwing me off. Okay, I can't talk to Ezra. I assume we're done and just leave? But no, the valve isn't turned at the thing. What are you doing here? Well, that was a pleasant detour. Yes, ma'am. Ready to get moving? How about you round up the old man if you can tee him free? Conway. He was to the right. And we'll forget the kid, of course. Or is Will the old man? Let's try Conway. Yeah, you're right about that. I've never quite thought of it that way. Who are you talking to? Oh. No, it's nothing. Let's get out of here. Work to be done, right? Okay. And we're moving on to the next place and stop on our journey. On our journey to Dogwood Drive 5. Let's see if we find it along the river. I'm generally interested in how this plays out. Not generally, actually interested in how this plays out. What will happen if we arrive at Dogwood Drive in this or the next act. It's easy to miss, but beneath that quarter-acre swarm of moths, that's Atticus Pitiocampa, the rough tunnel moth. Their diet is mostly constrained to smaller insects, but they make an exception for sunflowers. It's a quarter-acre sunflower orchard, and beneath that sunflower orchard there are 2 small lots with smaller houses positioned so they just about butt right up against each other. So it's a quarter-acre big field and the 2 houses are touching each other that are there. Great. The houses are empty now of human life. There's no sign of a person or anything living except for moss and overgrowth. There are some pipes bolted into the cave wall near the perimeter and a few stone scars where other pipes have been ripped away by scavengers. These once supported the large grow lamps that fed the sunflowers. The lamps are gone now. Once this crop of sunflowers is picked away, it's unlikely anything else will grow here but lichen, moth and rock formations. The rough tunnel moth will move on. Their houses will be visible again, at least until someone strips them for building materials or the river washes them away. The houses were once inhabited by 2 sisters. Where they built their houses so close together or lived in any proximity at all is a mystery, since they clearly despised one another. Some think they were tricked into buying their houses. Maybe by an unscrupulous real estate agent, or more likely a concerned family member. It stands to reason this sororal rift would have sent ripples of discomfort through the rest of the family pool. Anytime these sisters were in the same room, the tension was incendiary, also well here. All that energy had to go somewhere, and both sisters had the same idea. They took up gardening. They both cultivated sunflowers, an improbable crop for this location, too improbable to be coincidence. Maybe the sunflowers had some special meaning for them, or maybe when one sister saw a rival sowing the impossible seeds, she knew at once she couldn't bear to be outdone. Which sister had the greener thumb, we'll never know. The stalks entangled, the roots knotted, and the seeds mixed. Those gangly sunflowers merged the 2 knots into one undifferentiated field. The 2 sisters moved out probably around the time the moths started showing up. Of course, there was no selling the lots then, overgrown and buckshoot as they are. In fact, if those sisters ever tried to sell, they'd be in for a rude shock. Not long ago, a property tax clerk, having seen the 2 adjoining lots registered to the same last name, presumed they belonged to the same owner and erased the legal border between them. Ah, what's that? Little platform? Business by the telephone? No. The dogs lounged below deck. The dogs are the most interesting thing here. Inside the mucky mammoth. But we'll see what the dogs are about to do in the next episode. Have a nice day. See you tomorrow.